My colleague Deepthi, in fact, takes it up from here and stays put on this story. Over to you, Deepthi.
Oh yes, and Abhishek, we'll just pick up from where you've left, because it's not just about the investigation, it is also about what happens from here on. What is the kind of evidence that the police has till now? The evidence that will be good enough, Abhishek, to nail this man. Exactly what you had discussed with your panel of guests right now. Is the evidence good enough, or is this the time for the CBI now to step into the case? Because let's not forget that we've seen over 6 months pass, and there is a genuine fear that a lot of evidence could have been destroyed by Aaftab and perhaps his many accomplices. Sit back and watch how the investigation has spanned so far. What is it that the police has? And then we debate.
Severed head, burned Shraddha's face to hide her identity. Aaftab took 10 hours to chop her body, then had a beer, smoked a cigarette and then went to sleep. Disposed her body parts in polythenes and carried it in a backpack, then used the vacuum to clean the blood. Drove at 2 a.m. for 20 days to dispose body parts in the dead of the night. Gory details continue to surface. An uphill task for the police is now to find the murder weapon, Shraddha's mobile phone and her clothes on the day of the crime. Aaftab was brought to Saket Court today, where the police sought 10-day custody. With loud sloganeering inside the Saket Court, demanding Aaftab must be hanged. The court granted 5-day police custody and allowed narco test on Aaftab. The focus is now on Himachal and Uttarakhand, where the police will take him to retrace the sequence of events that led to the murder.
जहाँ गर्लफ्रेंड के साथ ये रहा होगा, जहाँ घूमा फिरा होगा, जिस भी होटल में रुका होगा, जिन जगहों पे गया होगा, देखिए वो तो अब अक्यूज्ड को ले जाएंगे, वो पीसी में बताएगा ना, उसका डिस्क्लोजर स्टेटमेंट लिखेंगे वो.
The big question is whether Aaftab was alone in committing the crime or he had an accomplice. Bureau Report, Republic TV.
And do remember, as the investigation has spanned out, there are still a lot of unanswered questions. The first and the most important question: is Aaftab lying? Is he actually telling the truth to the cops who are investigating the entire case? Or is Aaftab right now putting out his own side of the story, and the idea is to mislead the cops? Then secondly, remember, it's already been about 5 to 6 months since the murder of Shraddha, since he strangulated her, chopped her, he even burnt her face. Why? Because he wanted to conceal her identity. So even as the police right now, remember, is trying to fix all these pieces of the jigsaw puzzle, extremely important is that police is able also to recover the murder weapon. Has that been recovered till now? The answer is no. Now, the agencies, that is the Delhi police here, remember, has been able to secure another 5 days of custody for this killer, for Aaftab. The reason why now they'll be taking him to Himachal, to Uttarakhand, also to his Gurgaon office. Earlier in the day, we spoke to the lawyer in the entire case. He's telling us more also about how the investigation from here on will proceed.
आज उसको वर्चुअल हियरिंग पे उसको अपीयर करा दिया है, वो हो गया है. पुलिस ने रिमांड के लिए एप्लीकेशन मूव की है, 5 डेज का रिमांड हो गया जो हमें पता चला, और नार्को टेस्ट की एप्लीकेशन अलाउ हो गई है.
पुलिस ने क्या कहा, नार्को टेस्ट की जरूरत क्यों पड़ रही है इस पूरे मामले में? पुलिस ने कुछ कहा?
मैंने आपको बताया, देखिए इस तरह का ऑफेंस जब सीक्रेसी में कमिट होता है तो आपको इंडिपेंडेंट विटनेस नहीं मिल सकते, आई विटनेस नहीं मिल सकते, तो आप कैसे रिलेट करेंगे चीजों को? रिलेट करने के लिए आप सर्कमस्टेंशियल एविडेंस तैयार करेंगे. सर्कमस्टेंशियल एविडेंस कैसे होगा? उसकी एक चेन होती है कंप्लीट. जब वो चेन कंप्लीट हो, अनब्रेकेबल हो, तभी उस पर कन्विक्शन हो सकता है.
पुलिस कहाँ लेके जाने वाली है, क्या रखा
किसमें?
पुलिस कहाँ
जहाँ गर्लफ्रेंड के साथ ये रहा होगा, जहाँ घूमा फिरा होगा, जिस भी होटल में रुका होगा, जिन जगहों पे गया होगा, देखिए वो तो अब अक्यूज्ड को ले जाएंगे, वो पीसी में बताएगा ना, उसका डिस्क्लोजर स्टेटमेंट लिखेंगे वो।
डेट अभी हुई है डिसाइड इसके लिए, नार्को के लिए?
किसके लिए?
नार्को के लिए कोई डेट?
नहीं, वो अभी कोई डेट ऐसी डिसाइड नहीं है, मेरे नॉलेज में नहीं है, हमें कुछ ऐसा पता नहीं चला। वो पुलिस वहाँ अपने एप्लीकेशन अलाउ होगी, अब पुलिस अपने अरेंजमेंट्स करेंगी, कहाँ उनको नार्को टेस्ट कराना है, कब कराना है, किन हालात में कराना है, कैसे कराना है।
दिल्ली पुलिस ने अपने सामने क्या क्या
देखिए 5 दिन का रिमांड तो इसलिए मिला ना कि उनको एविडेंस कलेक्ट करना है, जब भी एफआईआर रजिस्टर हो जाती है।
एविडेंस दिखाया? आज कोई एविडेंस पेश किया सर?
देखिए ऐसे कभी भी कोर्ट में जब पेश किया जाता है कोई एविडेंस नहीं दिखाया जाता है। मान लीजिए टेक ए हाइपोथेटिकल सिचुएशन, उनको वेपन ऑफ ऑफेंस मिल गया मान लो, तो वो उसको वहीं पे पुलिंदा बना के मालखाना में जमा कर देते हैं, एफएसएल में भेजेंगे, उसकी रिपोर्ट आएगी। वो कोर्ट में कब आएगा? कोर्ट में तब आएगा जब एविडेंस रिकॉर्ड होगा एट दैट टाइम। ये नहीं कि आज पेश करने आए तो ये रिकवर हो गया जिसको साथ लेके आएंगे, दैट इज नॉट द केस।
So even a narco test is what will happen in the entire case, but it's important to tell our viewers that a narco test is valid only if it's corroborated with the evidence. So that evidence is very, very crucial that the Delhi police will have to take in now. Let me say good evening to our panel of guests joining in. I do see Ashwini Dubey, who's an advocate on record in the Supreme Court, along with Aaftab-Shraddha ji, who's also a senior lawyer at the Supreme Court. Divya Reddy is a noted social activist. We've heard her speak vociferously on the entire issue. Karan Verma is an author and political analyst, and we are also waiting for Nirmal Kaur, who's a former DGP of Jharkhand, to join us in just a moment. But first up, I think the important question that goes out, and Divya, let me begin with you. A lot of people are asking that, listen, does the police have good enough evidence right now to be able to nail this man? Or is it time for another investigative agency like the CBI to step in? What would you say?
See, like I've mentioned it multiple times, this is a peculiar case and it is an extremely heinous crime. The more the merrier, and the help should come from all quarters, and investigations like the CBI are pro at this game. So there is nothing wrong in handing over such cases to the CBI because they do investigate the special cases, and that's why they are there.
No, that's point. I think you made a very generic point, but Ashwini, I think will understand from where am I coming. You know, Ashwini, a lot of people today are saying that we do not have the mobile phones either of the accused or of the victim. We do not know where the mobile phones are, so where the data is. The body is yet to be recovered. We do not have the murder weapon yet. Now, considering, Ashwini, that already a time gap of 5 to 6 months has elapsed, where does the police investigation today stand, and do you believe that in the absence of all this, where does the case actually, Ashwini, go on from here?
See, this is the case where the circumstantial evidences will play a pivotal role in proving this offense. Admittedly, there is no eyewitness to this incident, but the circumstantial evidences which are continuously being collected by the police, be it the body parts, be it the medical report, be it the Delhi Jal Board's bill which has come, which as per which the excessive water was used to destroy the evidences, as well as every day in the night at 2 o'clock he used to go there to dispose of the body. That is also one of the evidence, and narco analysis test of course will add further to it. No doubt it's a calculated, cold-blooded and brutal murder of a girl of very tender age, and it's an offense not against the individual, but it's an offense against the society. But so far as the Delhi police is concerned, that is also one of the efficient police force in the country, and there are many police officials very well versed with all the technological as well as the other infrastructural support system, and they have expertise in proving these kind of cases.
Ashwini, so as a citizen today, I want to ask you something. Ashwini, you're saying yes, the Delhi police is a competent force, good enough. And, Amitabh, you're free to come in here. And Karan, you can also. But tell me something. A murder happens in the national capital. The Delhi police has no knowledge about it. This man, this killer, this brute, every day is walking out with a piece of Shraddha. He's going to an obscure forest location in the national capital. No PCR van apprehends him. No CCTV camera captures this, movement that happens for over 20 days, Amitabh. So, why should that question also not be asked to the Delhi police that have they done enough?
See, thank you for giving me a chance to, give my opinion. See, in this case, the background is important. Why the demand of CBI is there? That is very important. Actually, very recently, on 7th of, this month only, when the Chief Justice bench, he acquitted a rape and murder case, a Chawla murder case of 2012. So that is in the background of people's mind and opinion, and because Delhi police mishandled the case or whatever, or the public prosecutor and prosecution side couldn't establish the fact in a proper manner. So acquittal is the end result, and because that the entire crime was also very, very heinous and deplorable, but nothing happened in that, and the clean acquittal was the end result of this faulty process. So that is the reason. That is reason behind this demand of CBI. But what my opinion is that Delhi police is equipped enough to handle this case. Yes, certainly the mischievous and the typical mindset of such type of criminal who have been trained that way.
No, but Amitabh, is it a wrong
just
question?
a minute.
Karan, why don't you also come in on this? Is it a wrong question then to ask that what was the Delhi police doing for all these 6 months? They have a network of informers, there are neighbors, there are a lot of people, there has to be a vigilance. So had it not been for the father, Amitabh and Ashwini, are we to be believing, Karan, that this case would have never even come to light? And what is the guarantee today that this man is not misleading the investigators, the Delhi police?
Certainly. Well, he is now such a brutal person that, number one, he can mislead till the last moment. But Delhi police has the potential to nab the culprit also. And the complaint is a requirement, and complaint has happened, and then the final culprit has been arrested. But the important thing, how to address this demand or the public psyche that Delhi police is not equipped.
I'll tell you why. Because a lot of our viewers, it's been 4 days since Republic has been fronting the entire investigation, Amitabh. People are calling us in our newsrooms to ask that was this man acting alone, Karan? They want to know, were there more accomplices? Whose car was he using to, actually drive down from the flat to these forests? Is there a CCTV that the police is looking at? So there are a lot of loopholes.
Frankly, that is the reason.
Yes, Karan, quickly, please, Karan.
Yeah, Deepthi, the fact is today the police is being misled. And there have been multiple versions, and now the police has to visit other states also, which include Himachal and Uttarakhand. This is a case that requires some serious sophistication, and that sophistication can only come when an agency like CBI, which has a conviction record of 68%, can take up this case. They have solved such cases in the past, whether it was the Noida murder case or the Bhavri murder case. So it is not something, we cannot leave this case to a case of police inefficiency leading to acquittal. This is a case that needs to be solved because people are angry today. People are angry and they want law to act as a deterrence. They can't see an inefficient system letting go of this case. So far, I don't want to cast aspersions on Delhi police, but I doubt they have the sophistication that a CBI has. So let's face it, police reforms have been long due. Let's not make this case a case of experimentation and solve it. Can't hear you.
Together, you have the murder weapon, you have the body. Where is the guarantee that this man is actually going to be getting that punishment? Ashwini.
Is that for me? Okay.
May I?
Yes, Ashwini.
No doubt the confessional
we can't hear
statement
Ashwini.
Given by before the police. Yeah. Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now?
We can. Please go on.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah. So no doubt the section 27 evidence
Yes.
given before the police, which is called the confessional statement, has no evidentiary value in the eyes of the court. But there are other circumstantial evidences which are corroborating it, like the fridge was purchased. You cannot deny it. Like the van which was used to vanish the clothes of the Shraddha, that you cannot deny it. Like the evidences which are the police is trying to interrogate or interrogating the friends of the Shraddha.
But Ashwini,
these are
you're an advocate on record.
evidences.
Tell me something. With all your years of practice, are you telling me that all this evidence, that circumstantial evidence is good enough to get this man actually a death penalty? Ashwini?
No,
That's
of
the
course
question.
not. Of course not. As of now, the keeping in view the evidences which have been gathered by and the manner in which the murder is committed is not clear, so it will not fall within the rarest of the rare doctrine, despite the fact that it's a gruesome, cold-blooded and brutal murder. But ultimately, what the law says,
we
there
can't
has
keep
to be
saying
direct evidence.
this is a cold murder.
Yes, Karan
and
is
not
countering
too much
you.
to get a conviction. You know, I agree with the gentleman that this is a cold-blooded murder, but sir, here we have to marshal our resources.
Okay.
If the CBI can come in and we can get a conviction and set an example, I think that is what the need of the hour is. Piece by piece, we are not going anywhere until and
Yes,
unless the CBI
Karan and
steps in.
Ashwini, let's... Okay. You make all valid points. I want to say good evening to Nirmal Kaur, who's a former DGP of Jharkhand, and she joins us right now. Good evening, ma'am, and thank you for your time here on Republic, because you've been a former top cop, ma'am. How do you read the case so far and the investigations, ma'am?
It's a very gruesome murder, you know, premeditated, cold-blooded murder. And by the time the murder was discovered, it's already been 6 months. So 6 months is a long time to, you know, if it is fresh, the evidence is also more easily obtainable. But one just hopes, you know, they say the cleverest of the criminals leave something behind. So one hopes that police will be able to find those things that tie up this murderer to the murder and build a foolproof case that is, you know, hold in the court of law right till the Supreme Court, because he'll have so many appellate levels. Shraddha had nobody to appeal to. Shraddha had no court. But this gentleman will have court after court, the trial court. Even if he is convicted there, he'll go to the High Court. After High Court, he goes to the Supreme Court. So because of our legal system, you know, he will have many channels where he can take, you know, lots of technical defenses and things like that. So one is hoping that police will be able to find enough evidence to build a foolproof case here. And, you know, in this rarest of the rare cases, the courts also do their bit and Shraddha gets justice. That is what one hopes for.
Absolutely. I second that thought, ma'am. I want to understand from you that when you say that, you know, the police should be able to get enough evidence, what does that mean in a case like this?
It means that they say right now, if media is saying that he's confessed to the crime, but does his confession, it has no legal value. It is not admissible in a court of law. So his value, the thing is, police will have to find independently evidence that links the crime to this person, Aaftab. After they are able to find enough evidence, which they can prove in a court of law, they'll be able to, you know, prove to, because prosecution is not that easy, because our whole legal premise is that let 999 guilty go scot-free, but one innocent should not be punished. So it has to be proved beyond all doubt. And 6 months, after 6 months gathering evidence, there are no eyewitnesses. It's very strange. They lived in a crowded place, but having lived in a crowded place, no neighbors know them. Nobody noticed for 6 months that the girl is not there anymore. Even her own parents, her own father, you know, comes up so late. Her friends are coming up so late. And I think enough evidence has to be gathered. And I think we should have our faith in police. And they are smarter than the smartest criminal. That is what I think. And they'll be able to tie him up and, you know, get him charged for this murder and convicted for this murder. And he'll get his justice. That's what I feel is going to happen.
You know, Deepthi, I think the former DG actually
yesterday we had Dr. Kiran Bedi also here speaking to us on Republic. Karan, Ma'am has walked into the debate late, so I really want to understand a few, more important details as far as the investigation goes. And ma'am, even Dr. Kiran Bedi said that we as a society obviously need to do a lot more when it comes to such cases, fast track them, ensure all evidence is gathered. But in a case like this, the one that we are talking of today, and before you came into the debate, there was this whole question about, is Aaftab trying to mislead the Delhi police right now? And what is the evidence that Delhi police has today that is going to be good enough to get an acquittal and perhaps a harder penalty, in the entire case, to actually get him behind bars? Now, tell me something. The murder weapon has not been located. The body has not been located. The phones for the accused, the victim, have not been found. In a situation like this, ma'am, what are the challenges right now before the Delhi police? And do you believe, we should be open to even looking at a CBI investigation if the need be?
I think bringing in CBI for this kind of a case, we think CBI is there a more professional investigation into more organized crime. This kind of a one-off crime, I think Delhi police is more than capable. They have their forensic science lab. And the best evidence here, perhaps what we can find is if any of those bones or, the blood being found anywhere in the flat, even a small trace, you just need a few molecules. You really don't need too much for DNA testing. That matches with Shraddha's DNA, because considering they have taken her father's sample for DNA. If that matches, they'll be able to link it up and say that, yes, she was in the flat, she was killed in the flat, and then she was killed by this person itself. For that also, perhaps a lot of to establish that. So, whole thing will need to be established that he killed the girl, and to tie the murder, to tie him up with the murder, all those painstaking things have to be done by the police investigation so that they are able to, prosecute properly, to have so much of evidence, to have so many facts that cannot be countered. No defense, I'm sure right now the best defense lawyers of the country are, squirming in their seats. Oh, here comes a case. They already see so many loopholes in this. So, the best of lawyers have to be defeated on this. And I think he should not get this defense, though the legal premise is that even a murderer is entitled to his defense. And let him be. But police has to be stronger than that and get a lot of evidence. And CBI will add any value. I have my doubts about that. Because police is working so hard. CBI walks in late. Then you'll have a few days time while they take over. As it is, you've lost 6 months. So bringing in CBI, is it going to add any value? I do not see much value here.
Karan,
everybody is saying follow.
All right,
everybody who's
Karan,
saying follow
I know you want to come in, but Trust Republic, we will be on top of that story. We will revisit it again, Karan, only for what of time. Apologies, I'm not able to come back to any of you again, but Ashwini, Amitabh, Nirmal Kaurji, Divya Reddy and Karan, thank you so much right now for putting out your views. And as we heard Nirmal Kaur, the former top cop in Jharkhand, making it very clear, we hope the police has solid evidence to nail this man. And Republic, remember, as I said, will be on top of that story. I thank all my guests on the other side. Arnab is joining you with the big debate.
In a tragic accident, 8 people were killed when an SUV skidded off the road and fell into a deep gorge in the Kishtwar district of Jammu and Kashmir yesterday evening. According to the Jammu and Kashmir police, the incident had taken place at around 5:30 p.m. in Marwa area of Kishtwar district. Union Minister Jitendra Singh expressed his condolences over the loss of lives. He also assured that all possible assistance was being provided. Bureau Report, Republic TV.
A massive fire broke out in Jamia Masjid in the Dras area of Ladakh on Wednesday. The fire was brought under control with the help of the army, police, fire and emergency department, although the mosque was heavily damaged by the fire. Watch how the fire engulfed the entire compound of Jamia Masjid Mosque. According to the locals, while they were waiting for the fire officials to come, they helped the army to douse the fire. Dras is a sensitive region, but what is more unfortunate is that there is no single fire service station. Such incidents have happened in past also, but UT administration has not learnt anything.
Now the police officials have formed 4 officials, and now there are teams which have been formed to nab the accused and identify the accused, whereas what we are being told is that the unidentified person who arrived at the residence of the TDP leader was dressed as an holy man.